Hey, Steve Shenbaum here from Game On Nation, and this is Laugh With. And today I have the great fortune of interviewing a dear friend of mine and a colleague, Kyle Stark. This is Laugh With Kyle Stark. Before we chop it up, brother, I'll talk about you because you won't talk about you. I know this because you won't. Actually, it drives me crazy. You underplay that. We'll talk about underplay. Kyle was in front office Major League Baseball for over 14 years with the Cleveland Indians, now Cleveland Guardians, and then I think 12 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's where we met. Kyle was the assistant general manager, also oversaw player development. I do want to add one more thing. In 2013, Kyle was a huge part of this progression where in 2013, Pirates were voted the MLB Organization of the Year. He won't say that, but I will. So, brother, welcome to Laugh With Kyle Stark.
Awesome to be here.
I'm gonna keep saying your name
Keep
over,
saying podcast with Kyle Stark.
Podcast with Kyle Stark. All right, we tee things up. We want to talk about laugh. We want to talk about reframing it too. So it's not just about trying to be funny, though. There will be some comedy because Kyle's funny and he's really smart. But what made you laugh, man? Recently, what brought you some joy? What's something that lit you up that you can share?
Yeah, that you can share. I like the qualifier.
Yeah.
So, and you can relate to this, training for the Baton Death March.
Yeah.
Really cool, powerful experience that we did last year. 26.2 miles with a ruck on your back, good suck fest, but really about significance and purpose and doing something together. So doing it again this year and training for it, preparing for it in amongst travel. And so my wife and I are doing it together.
Yep.
And we are actually doing the whole thing together, which we've joked around. We're either going to skip across the finish line in marital bliss, or she's going to say, hey, where are you going next? You can stay out there a little bit longer. But anyway, so our dog has gotten more walking in as well. And Toby is a high energy dog. But I said, we have found ourselves saying, hey, Toby, you want to go for a walk? And he immediately goes running into the kennel. He's had enough walking.
Yeah,
so
you've overwhelmed the
there's
dog.
a lot of laughter with that.
You know, I love that. I love that. Let's talk about overplay.
Yes.
How many of us can say we have walked our dog so much that dog is good? That dog has been walked out.
And that's a high energy dog who really likes to be active. But yeah, he's reached his threshold. He's good. So,
bro, I know Toby because I know you. We do life with Heather and Kyle. My wife Jackie and I do life with you. Toby is beyond high energy. Toby would be called frenetic. Toby's tired. You've made Toby tired, huh?
Yeah, Toby loves. What we've realized with Toby is Toby likes to play. Toby likes to run.
Fair.
Toby likes to hunt. He does like new experiences. But like the idea of, hey, we're going to go do a 6-mile loop 3 times. No, Toby's good. Toby's done with it.
Toby's not wrong.
No question.
Toby's not wrong. That'll preach. All right, brother. So good. I have to ask you this. I didn't set this up at all. Kyle, you have a profound voice. I mean it. And I mean literally. Like, you have a metaphorically profound voice. You're one of the smartest people I know. You give great perspective on a variety of things. You wear so many hats with your own company, Stark Contrast, and within Game On as an advisor, as a former client with the Pirates, and you teach Game On so well. But I want to actually ask you something I've never asked you, and we've known each other for over 15 years. Your voice is so profound. Like, it reverberates. Has that always been the case? I mean it. Like, I picture you at like 10. Was Kyle at 10 years old answering questions in 6th grade, like, I know the answer?
No, Kyle's voice evolved over time.
I mean, even with the mic, I'm like, they're going to hear you so well.
Yeah, they're probably already making some adjustments to dial back a little bit.
Bryce is in the bottom, like, Steve's at an 8, but Kyle needs to be like a 6 on the volume scale. Yeah. No, but it is. It even when I teach with you, it resonates across a room.
No, I think part of it has been blessed with a gift to be used in certain places. I think part of it, though, has been when you spend a lot of time on ball fields and you're having to project, when you spend a lot of ton of time in, I've worked in construction, worked in landscaping, dealing with, loud equipment. So yeah, I think that has been developed over time and perfected over time, and probably in some ways, talk about Laugh With, I've made the dog quit on walking, and there's quite a few times where Heather's like, can you maybe find a little bit more space, go somewhere for a little bit during the day, because the voice is carrying throughout the house.
I don't have a loud voice, but my wife says the same thing to me.
Very similar.
I teach with you when the client will be like, we've got about 60 people in the room. Do you need a microphone? I'm like, no, we're good. We'll be okay. 80? We're good. 400? All right, we'll take a mic. We'll take one.
Depending on how the acoustics are. If the acoustics are good, I'm good. But if not, maybe we'll take a mic.
And another thing, again, not scripted, that makes you so unique is your writing is very small. You write very small. When we worked together, when I had the opportunity to be teaching Game On with the Game On staff, when you were assistant GM for the Pirates, your notes, you could have left your notes, like top secret notes, and no one would be able to read them. Has that always been the case where you've had like small writing?
I have. I think it's gotten smaller over time. It's probably also gotten sloppier over time. The eyes have gotten worse over time. So we're kind of at a unique spot right now where I have to probably make an adjustment. Heather, probably no question, the most influential in my leadership journey. She has spoke truth to me a number of times. She has said to me, she said, hey, could you maybe, I think your boys, you've got a lot of good stuff. I think your boys would maybe like it. Could you write it in such a way that someone else might be able to hold on to it? And that hasn't landed yet. So.
It has
Clint Hurdle, who we worked with in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Clint's a funny guy. Clint jokes around about that it's like Braille. So like he gets my notes and he starts waving his hand over it like it's Braille.
You could write like, this is the secret code to life. Like, Steve, if you read this, you'll crack all the code, and I wouldn't crack the code.
Yeah. It's actually a great teaching communication lesson of knowing your audience. Are you really, is it for you or is it for somebody else? Obviously, I'm still in the mindset of whatever I'm writing is for me, and so that's who my audience is. But at some point, maybe I need to shift gears a little bit and think about, maybe this is for somebody else.
You want to tell the story about when we first met?
I'd love to.
Yeah, it sounds like it's like when Harry Met Sally, when
Yes.
the couples would sit at the back.
We need to bring everybody up to speed.
Yeah. No, but we first met IMG Academy because I actually think it's really funny, and it also like has meaning, and it kind of points out like even our personalities a little bit and where our giftings match.
Yeah. No, it's actually a cool journey. I think most people look at us and probably go,
how?
You two are hanging out? You two are in Israel together? For 10
I'm
days?
glad we're going to talk about that, by the way. The Israel trip we will talk about, so plant that seed because we have 7 hours on this podcast.
Yes, exactly.
I get paid per minute.
And quick sidebar, so Steve used to come into the office, and Steve and I would rhythm pretty quick.
Yeah.
And we had a number of talented people in Pittsburgh. One very talented guy was in my office. We were chopping some things up, and I said, hey, Steve's coming up, and this guy, good friends with you as well. I said, you want to stick around? And he goes, I can't. And I go, what do you mean you can't? He said, end of the day, it's like being too close to a tennis match at Wimbledon. It's like, I can't do it. So we'll just stay back.
Well, even when Bryce, our amazing videographer, was like, hey, give it a little space back and forth so I can edit, I'm like, we may not be able to do that.
Not going to happen. I respect you, Bruce. I'm trying. It's not like I'm being a jerk and just ignoring, but yeah, let's go. So to your question on the story.
Yeah.
So I get to Pittsburgh. We know, we joke around. We inherited worst team in the big leagues, lowest payroll, worst farm system. We knew we were going to have to do things different. We weren't going to be able to just try to copy the Yankees, the Dodgers, whatever else. And so I had a clear idea in my mind of what we wanted to do in terms of doing some things different. Had been around enough high-speed, excellent people in different arenas. But we really sold out to it. So we said, okay, who's doing really good work in different places? It might be on the teaching side. It might be on the training side. It might be on the selection side. It might be on the leadership side, culture side. And started spending time with different people to try to learn from them. And a friend of mine said, hey, you should go over to IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, where spring training was. And so I go over to IMG.
It was like 2009.
Yeah, it would have been 2009,
Yeah.
I think 1 year in or something like that.
Yep.
And again, no disrespect. IMG does a really good thing, but we're a professional sports organization, a lot of the same things. But then one of the last stops in the journey, I end up in this little, I don't even know, building and somewhere randomly on campus.
Little building, yeah. It was Game On, and it was like we had maroon walls.
They said, hey, this is Game On. I'm like, oh, what's Game On? Because I know generally I'm in the life skills space at this point in the trip, but I don't really know. Yeah, they couldn't really explain it. So I go in and I meet Steve. Steve's getting ready to teach a session. And I said, so what's the deal here? And you looked at me and you're like, you know what? It's probably easier for you to just experience it. When could you come back?
And I was testing because, I had so many people coming through. It was like, a turnstile of just different amazing high-performing leaders. And like, hey, if they come back, and I think there's a 4:30 class tomorrow.
Yeah.
Son of a gun showed up.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back. And so, I head over that afternoon. I walk in. Steve's like shocked. You're shocked. Like, what are you doing? Nobody ever comes back. And I said, yeah. And you were a gracious host. You said, hey, just sit on the side. I won't call you up, but you can observe.
Our relationship started with a lie.
But you took a risk.
A risk. I like that. I like you reframed it.
Yeah.
Kyle's really good at like taking a harsh word and be like, no, let me reframe that. It was a lie. Because I said to you, what did I say to you?
Said, I'm not going to call you up front.
I'm not going to call you up
but
front.
you can watch.
Yeah, you can watch. You can observe because I just want you to breathe, take it in because really what I want to do is earn your trust so we can work with the Pirates.
And you knew you earned it quickly.
I earned it quickly and there was like...
I remember 15 minutes. It might have been longer than that. But... and it was a smaller group.
Yeah.
I've joked around it was the United Nations of 8 to 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
And you said, Kyle, why don't you jump up for this game?
Totally. I breached the trust a little bit.
And for those of who don't know, I'm not a theater guy.
But he's teaching improv now. He does amazing. But yeah.
And so I get pulled up into so you decide to do an improv at a game with me. I don't even remember which one it was. I do remember the note you continue to give me.
Seriously?
Basic principle of improv of agreement. Yes, and. My default, which we can get into of overplay, is to challenge. So you kept, no, it's yes, you did this. No,
actually,
no, I didn't. I challenged.
Let's set the stage.
I defaulted
This is
to challenge.
Perfect. Let's set the stage too. It truly was like 13, 14, and 15-year-olds. You had like golfers from Taiwan. You had soccer players from Argentina and Venezuela. There were probably 5 or 6 languages in that room. And Kyle, non-improv base, more challenge than agreement. And I'm like, let's rock. That's the definition of a rock for some people. And you killed it, buddy.
Well, I don't know that I killed it, but I knew there was something there. Yeah. My own experience in watching it. And again, the simple thing was I knew we wanted to do communicate. We were going to do holistic approach to development.
Yeah.
And so I knew we wanted to do media training, communication training. And I'm like, hey, let's do this. This is different. There's something here. And I reached back out to you and said, hey, would you want to do a training with our it had to have been quick because it was during that camp of Instructional League. And I said, would you come back and do a session with our prospects? And you said yes. And I'll never forget. So that night you did a basic set, probably a 75-minute, 90-minute set with our guys. We aimed it at media training, but general communication, which was the need we had. And I just watched it. And there's a lot of things I don't do well. I do think I can observe and see patterns and make connections, and I saw the ability to connect here. What added to that? So you did your magic, amazing experience for everybody. I then pulled some connections and some tiebacks.
You did great tiebacks.
But then the next day, we're out on the field during training, and I had 2 different players, both who ended up playing in the big leagues, Jeff Locke and Matt Haig, who's actually the Pittsburgh Pirates hitting coach now.
Yep.
Made comments referencing the night before. Jeff's specific one was he's leaving the bullpen to go in and pitch the game. He goes, I need to be more of an 8 instead of a 3.
That's from Dimmer Switch.
Oh. And I'm like, okay, I knew there was something there, but when 18 to 22-year-olds gravitate to something, you're like, okay, there's something to this.
One of your biggest impacts you had on me, seriously, and all jokes aside, because we are going to joke. Because it's really fun to laugh with you all the time. We laugh 10 days in Israel. We'll have to weave that in. Well, we've done it twice already, but we'll unpack it more. But one of the things you've done so well for me, and I want to talk a little bit more about this, is this idea of here's your gift. Let's not overplay it. Let's not underplay it. I had never thought of it that way. You know, in my backstory as an actor, it's like you do that really well. More. You know, like, oh, you like that? Here's some more. Realizing no one really is going to have the courage to come up to you after a presentation and be like, hey, man, your energy's good, but it was a little overwhelming. Like, very rarely are you ever going to get that feedback, though people think that. The overplay, the underplay. Where did that come from, and how have you utilized it helping others, but also with yourself?
Yeah, well, and I think one thing I want to talk about overplay, underplay that I think goes into this in terms of our relationship. So that was a one-off thing. And I think you said at one point that we averaged like 45 sessions a year that Game On, you and your staff did with organization, coaches, scouts, players, all different levels.
For 10 years.
To weave the connection piece, the communication piece throughout. A big thing that I was really drawn to, and then we'll dive into the overplay, underplay, was the power of improv, of comfortable being uncomfortable, which we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
But are we putting ourselves really in that position? No, more often than not, we're trying to be comfortable. The idea of having each other's back, taking care of each other. Like we talk about being a good teammate, but then we'll stay in our silo and go through our world just by ourselves. And you have to work together for a scene to play out. And then the whole adapt, improvise, overcome. It doesn't matter how much you've prepared, stuff's going to happen. And so how do you respond and react to it? And so those things were the things that ultimately led to me saying, hey, we need to rep this out. It's not just Yeah, great session. Whenever you're in front of a room, there's a memorable moment. Somebody's connected to something. You've revealed something about somebody, and those things are powerful. But the ability then to let's rep this out and actually do this together, and not just have a good event and a good experience, I think helped to drive a lot of things. So maybe we overplayed. I don't think so, but I think it's that idea of if it's something good, navigate that tension between those two, and then find out how do we build repetition around it.
You helped me with the overplay, and you didn't even say it this way, was I used to come to you all the time and say, hey, we need to do new games. We need to do new games. Remember, because in many of our trainings, and I want people that are listening to think, are they doing this in their presentations? Because I think we all are susceptible, like, I want to keep it fresh. I want to keep it new. And yeah, I think there's a part to that, but you continue. It took a while, I'm not going to lie, because didn't get in there right away. I guess I'm going to be a stubborn. But you said, dude, don't worry so much about every game being new. Rep. And that now it's changed my whole perspective.
Well, we've talked about it. A lot of times that desire to do new and different is our own thing. It's not really about the audience.
No one's leaving going, I want improv in general is never going to be the same.
Yeah.
And you drive home and you're like, well, I want to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
I think that's the trap. I want to keep it fresh. And you're like, dude, it is going to be fresh.
Well, the overplay, underplay thing, and you were teaching this before you knew you were teaching it, but it's the line sugar on top of sugar.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, there's some things, I mean, you and I have joked around about old Steve, 2009, 2010 Steve Game On, and the magic of that. And I think over time you've continued to crystallize what exactly it is, right? Because there's times where we think it's this, we exaggerate that. It's this, we exaggerate this. The more we do this, the more we refine. No, what is it really, so I can replicate it? And I think one of the things you were teaching early on, and it was your own reveal and reflection to people, was sugar on top of sugar.
Yeah. Yeah, and that idea is like, in my mind, you're like, you like that? Well, wait till I double it. No, looking back now, they liked it because of that. Any double of it, and you actually made a good thing into something that all of a sudden is too much. I
think so. The overplay underplay thing, I think, really crystallized for me kind of two ways in my own journey in terms of leading. I think the first is when you find yourself on the pendulum swing back and forth, and you see it in sport all the time because we're a copycat league.
Yep.
That worked. We're going to go do that. If things didn't work, we had a change in our head coach or manager, and we're going to go player friendly now. And they have a little bit of success, but then that doesn't work. Well, we got to self-correct and we swing the pendulum and say, no, what really is the truth, the principle we're trying to hold on to? And that's usually a tension between two ideas.
Yeah.
And so that's where if we find ourselves swinging one way or the other way, it's usually an overplay, underplay thing. I think the other place where it showed up for me was thinking about, as you think about development longer term, a lot of times we're like more intensity. Our whole culture is built around this. And it's like, no, really what we're talking about long-term success and excellence is a consistency play as opposed to an intensity play. And so this overplay, underplay piece is this desire to do more, make huge adjustments and corrections as opposed to small tweaks. Where is the truth? It's probably a tension between two ideas, and continue to navigate more in that space.
You've helped me so much in this, and my end result off of that, one of my takeaways is with simplicity comes consistency. With grand comes some nice sparkle, but it's hard to replicate. And I think that, for me, in this overplay, underplay, has really helped me to find that middle so you can then run it on the daily. Because that's, at the end of the day, what's going to make massive impact, right?
Well, and I think what's cool about Game On, I think, is especially as you talk about laugh with and joy, I think one of the things that you've done a great job of teaching and teasing out for people is the idea of be human. Like, just be yourself. Yeah. We're going to find humor in that as we go through this together, as opposed to trying to be funny. Yeah. And our rush to try to be funny, actually, we end up not being funny, becomes awkward, we screw up trust, all the things that come with that. But I think as we talk through that, when you realize that the play is really consistency in the long term, okay, well, how do you then find joy in the mundane? Well, it's the simplicity of things. It's being human. It's being authentic. It's going through hard together. It's navigating those things. And when we're authentic with that, we find a lot of joy and humor in it. But when we're always trying to do more, trying to be funnier, trying whatever else, it's exhausting. It's not replicable, and it's ultimately not the recipe for long-term success.
I think that's why we like, not reality TV, we like these shows that are kind of replicating a documentary. You know, like this style of like The Office or Curb Your Enthusiasm, because, Dan O'Connor, a colleague of ours, points this out. Sometimes the thing you point out is the most obvious to the audience. They're going to respond to that because they can connect to it. Yeah. And you don't have to be like a grand theater person to like have that resonate. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, you've joked around about
Yeah.
the simplicity of some of these games in Game On and what gets laughs. And you're like, we don't have to try to make anything funny.
Totally.
I mean, it's just humans being human, especially if we're doing it in a place where there's some trust as we navigate it. We just let our guard down. We probably have maybe taken a load off. We've probably found some joy in some things.
Yeah.
It just shows up different.
I remember when you and I did the NASA session, and I don't have a specific question for it. I just have to acknowledge it. And we were dealing with we couldn't say on stage, this isn't rocket science, because there were rocket scientists in the room. But to your point about it doesn't have to be people that are from an improv background or theatrical, that human beings. I think the combo is if you have a semblance of kindness or trust, as you say, and a semblance of intelligence and high performance, you have a really nice recipe for connection and for laughter.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, it's funny as you think about, and I think this is where you find that, that tension, the overplay, underplay. Like, I think if you're genuinely pursuing something meaningful and doing it authentically, and you're doing it with a group of people you care about, and you're genuinely trying to get better and recognizing we're not perfect, we're going to screw up, but we're pursuing something special, there's a lot of fun in that. Like the desire to, we have to add fun or sprinkle in fun. And there's a time and place. I'm not minimizing that. Right. We can take ourselves too serious. Right. But if the pursuit is authentic, I don't know that we got to sprinkle a lot of anything in, because it's real, it's genuine, and it's human beings doing life the way it's intended to be.
Your opening exercise, where we kind of pair off into twos, and you do like a 3 rotation. One question is, what do you want to get out of this, right? Another question is, what's a routine that you do on the daily to get yourself in the right mindset? Yeah, and the third is, coins, right?
Yep.
Do you remember in NASA, we did that exchange? One guy, I realized, was a cheerleading father. And this is in a 1-minute exchange, right? Cheerleading father. I'm like, dude, so am I. Yeah. So am I. Laughter. There's no joke. No one said, like, did you hear the one about? And then the other one, just quickly, you set this up for the space, was the dude looked at me. He's like, when I was 16, I looked up in the sky, and I said, I want to put people on the moon. And that's what I'm doing now. I was like, I don't know how to counter that. Like, what do I say? Like, second team all league and prep league, baseball, like, it was amazing.
Yeah, I was actually worried I wasn't going to have you back after you and the cheer dad hit it off. I was like, I don't know if we're going to we have to bring it back. But I think, that, again, the simplicity of human beings being human, yes. And as opposed to us overcooking things. And now we got to be careful we don't swing the pendulum too far the other way and make things over simple. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things we've talked about in terms of, the idea to keep things simple sometimes keeps us from actually wading into the complexities and really understanding it. But the goal is to get on the other side so that it is simplified. And when we're there, we're usually in a place of truth. We're usually in a place of tension between some ideas. And, some cool things happen.
15 years I've known you, you've always loved, there's no one that has this muscle more than you. I mean this, and I'm not speaking in hyperbole. I wanted to use a big word. You see a situation that is rough, and you always are like, good teachable moment, good learning moment, good. And I've been an awesome recipient of that. Seriously, when I'm like, I'm just dealing, you're like, no, this is good. We're going to learn from this, right? Have you always been that way?
I think I have. So 2 quick stories on that.
Go.
So the first is, we talk about, so Heather and my wife Heather and I are exact opposites. Every assessment we've ever taken, anything, which when we're aligned on mission, beautiful thing. Yeah. When not, it's, we're rocking.
So you don't have a perfect marriage.
We're trending in the right direction. But she's amazing. She's a saint. She's helped me in so many different ways. But this is one that is a tension spot for us because in my mind, first of all, it's like, there's something good that can come out of this. Let's lean in and approach it the right way. And the second one is us sitting here, and I've joked with you about the empathy muscle of us sitting there and getting on our feelings isn't allowing us to move forward. Now, I've gotten better at making sure that, hey, we're human beings. Let's feel what we're supposed to feel. Yep. But then let's move forward. And I do believe that anything worthwhile is hard. I believe that adversity is intentional and purposeful. It's helping sharpen and shaping us. But there are a lot of times where I immediately shift in that mode, and Heather has to remind me that that she's my wife, and that I need a little different approach. The other one, we worked with a really smart guy, Chris Johnson, brilliant psychologist, and we'd always go back and forth on the whole optimism pessimism thing. And he made the point and Chris is an optimistic guy, but he made the point. He said, pessimists are right more often than optimists. And I would joke around. I said, I'm not looking to be right. We're looking to change the world. Mm-hmm. So it's not about an accuracy piece. This is about what good's going to come out of this and how do we move this forward. And I think it can wear on people, but I think eventually it's appreciated, and it's allowed us to get through a lot of heart at different times.
Bro, your model, your mission on the whiteboard behind you for 12 years, the Pirates was change the world through baseball. Now, if you're looking at that from a pessimistic point of view, you're bonkers.
No chance.
You're bonkers. And I'll be real. When I first met you, Kyle, I was like, this is crazy. Let's just win some games, bro. Let's make the playoffs. But if you're in that win some games, make some playoffs mindset, all you're doing is checking scores.
Yeah.
All you're doing is staying up till midnight looking at it, say, did they win the 11th inning extra inning game against the Mets versus
Which we've been there as well.
Oh, there was a whole run where you had like so many extra inning games I wanted to throw my phone against the wall. And I'm like, I'm not part of this. I'm just the improv guy.
Sucked you in.
Hey, I'm not responsible for the wins. I'm not responsible for the losses. And you're like, did they win? Did they win? Did they win? No, it changed the world through baseball. Like that's radical.
Well, and again, I think for us, it was about rallying around. It's not about minimizing wins and losses.
No.
Like very much aware of how we're evaluated, very much aware on that's the scoreboard.
Yeah.
It was about how we were doing it and why we were doing it. Yeah. I mean, I spent a lot of time talking with coaches, and it's like, I'm not going to argue. I think a lot of times we get into this problem about saying, well, you care about winning too much or whatever. I want you to be obsessed with winning. I want to know why you're obsessed with winning. And if you're obsessed with winning because it's about you or your career or being accolades from the world or whatever else, then we're off course.
Bro, you just reminded me, going back to our first intro, which was our story early in the podcast, you talked about my note to you, which I did not remember, was remember yes and. You could argue, Kyle, you were yes-anding. You were improving. Think about what you just said from a leadership perspective. It just hit me that wins are important. And, right? Yeah, you eventually get fired.
Yeah.
Like, a coach is not going to let you just keep losing over and over, or manager or owner. But it's a yes and. It's yes, the wins are important for the performance. And are we turning young men into great husbands and great fathers and great leaders? Yeah?
Yeah, and that's the way we framed it is if we elevate how we're doing things to such a spot where the rest of the industry, other teams start to copy and model us. And for a long time, a lot of people were trying to hire our people in different things. Then have we changed the world through baseball? Yes. If we're growing up the next generation of fathers and coaches and gatekeepers of this industry, have we changed the world through baseball? Yes. If we have done it in such a way that makes a city proud of its baseball team and reconnects families and whatever else, have we changed the world through baseball? The answer is yes. And for a run there, we were able to move that needle forward.
I love it. We talked about walking, actually. You're getting prepared for the ruck. I'm doing it as well. We walk. Our minds go fast. We were told by our videographer, share the space because I have to find ways to cut and edit. And I'm like, doing my best. And I'm like, oh, hold on. But when you're walking, what's going on? Is your mind quicker? Is your mind slowing down? I made a joke, but it's a laugh with. Like, you write tiny, but your notes are amazing. Your brain is flying. You have such good ideas. You look at challenging situations. And you're like, let's learn from this. But when you're moving, when you're walking, do you find yourself slowing down or speeding up?
It's a great question. I don't know that it's either. I think it's more about dedicated time to work through something and move towards something, crystallize towards something. So rather than just, hey, we're going to think about it more, whatever else, let's actually make sense of something and see if we can come out on the other side of something that's applicable that we can move forward with people. Because
I know when you were at the Pirates, I mean, you had this space, especially when you were Pirate City, before you broke from spring training, and then you're on the road, you're in PNC and then everywhere else. But I mean, I know you would take walks around the baseball field, and you would take meetings, right? It wasn't always in your office, right, where you're moving. Did you find those movement meetings produced maybe some more direction?
I think there's that. I think there's an element of our minds and bodies being in sync as opposed to just sitting there. I think there's an element of getting outside of an office. I think there's an element of being in nature and being, in creation and experiencing, all those things. I think it's a change of our normal battle rhythms. So I think all of those things can play into it. I think part of it too is that when you are in a spot where you're behind a desk or whatever else a lot, it's like, no, I'm looking for ways to be moving. And a bunch of guys would joke around about me wearing out paths while I was on a phone call, making, back and forth or around a field or whatever else.
Well, I mean, you're an early riser, always have been. I'm not bad, but you're like, I can't beat you. Like, I'll be going to the airport at like 5 a.m, and I'll be like, I'm going to call Kyle. And he's like, what's up? And I'm like, ah. But we were in Jerusalem for 10 days. So we were up early. And I will tell you, and this is not a question, it's more of a statement. We'll just chop it up. I never felt tired. I was invigorated the whole time. And we were up 5:30 in the morning, getting after it, grabbing our coffees for Gary and Dale, coming on back. And then we must have gotten 25,000 steps in, constantly intrigued by it all. That was my take on it.
Yeah, and I think it's funny when people ask me about, now that I'm not in the daily grind, do you miss it? Do you want to be back in? And, I think the things that people don't like about it, I actually enjoy. Like the hours, the stress, the problems, like those things all invigorate me because I think it's connected to purpose. Like I've made sense of all those things in alignment. So I was never tired necessarily in navigating those hours and everything else. Being a part of something meaningful with a meaningful group of people and moving towards a significant mission together, like those are all meaningful. Like, so those types of things energize me. And I think so, not from a mission purpose, but similar in terms of when we were in Israel, it's like, every day you're with a group of people that matter.
Yep.
There was an agenda of what we were going to try to hit and tackle and experience. There was a sense of challenge of just depth because we were around, you and I chop things up and go quick, but we were around two very mature, wise men. So the depth of what we were wrestling with and talking about was significant.
I mean, just the questions we would ask.
Yeah.
Everywhere we went.
Yes.
And you could do this. I mean, Jerusalem, there's some history there,
Yeah.
right? But you could argue anywhere you go. But
Yeah.
we were constantly like, help me understand.
Yeah.
And Dale,
Yep.
dear friend, and my father-in-law, Gary, were there to give some counsel. But yeah, the mind was going. But here's interesting. There was also a moment that I remember that was pure joy that was not on the schedule. And that was when we went to the Dead Sea. And this is interesting because we're very different in many
Yep.
ways and we line up. But you would say, if we were casting, I'd probably play more the character role, right? And Kyle played more the heavy, right? And here we were with the hardcore with the beard and the and then the former character actor. And we're both lying
Floating in the Dead Sea.
Floating in the Dead Sea. And I will tell you, I'll never forget with all the structure, all the amazing questions, the depth, the counsel you give. I'll never forget that moment. And it wasn't just in the Dead Sea. We had the mud like all over us. And I have a picture. We'll try to put it up on that podcast at some point. I'll get the tech team to be like, put this picture up. But yeah, just floating in the Dead Sea, laughing like kids, right? There was no improv game. There was no point to be made, right? And there's something to that as well, where when you give it that space, some really great moments can happen, and it doesn't always have to be scheduled out, but there has to be some framework.
Well, I think the overplay, underplay, like I think about our relationship, Steve, that, I think one of the things that we've done that you are passionate about of, uniquely positioned into the world of arts and sports, right? And, where we've actually gotten people from the world of the arts and from the sports world together to talk about performance and realize how much we have in common with that. Yeah. And I think about, you've said to me before, you're like, yeah, I like to have fun and everything else, but I also like to be grabbed hold by the face mask and told what to do periodically. If I trust you and respect you, whatever else. And I think similarly for me in terms of, there's a seriousness and intensity that can overwhelm at times, but there is a sense of play in there that I have become better at letting out and tapping into and being, comfortable sharing. So I think that's that. We're not one thing. We're some combination of both. How do these play out? But then also, I can't try to be Steve Shenbaum. It's not going to work well. Just like you can't try to be me. But if we know who we are, we flex that muscle consistently, we respect some of these differences, and we recognize, hey, I don't have to be just serious guy. That sense of play, which was something you shared with me early on. We used to joke about one of our first interactions was, Kyle, if you just let go of the curfew thing, they'd like you more. And I'm like, I don't care. I want them to sleep well so they can perform well.
Do you know how many times I'd walk in your office like, I have such a good point I'm going to make. By the way, JD MBA, and then I'd leave going, oh, I lost that case. Maybe I wouldn't be a good lawyer.
But I think the point of making sure that we're finding some play in there, and I do think I took that note and got better with that over time.
And I took the note of you giving me hey, it doesn't always have to be all about entertainment and performance.
Yeah.
And you don't always have to focus on new games. We
Yeah.
talked about that earlier. You don't have to focus on fresh. Sometimes just trust that the support side is really high for me. and the challenge side is something I can bring. The point you made, which I love, is this idea of being comfortable enough with someone to bring out that side of you that's there. By the way, let's acknowledge it's there. Yeah. For me, it's being a little bit more driven, and not driven, but the challenge side. Mm-hmm. And for you, let's call it the playful side.
Yep.
Fair?
Yep.
When people, not just Kyle and Steve, when people bring that out, it's really attractive. And I want people to understand that term. It's not about attractive being like attractive Hollywood attractive. It draws people to you.
Yeah, it's the human side.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think it's one of the things that we've laughed about in our journey together. Heather is the biggest defender ever of me. She thinks I'm amazing. She also shows me a lot of grace. And she's funny because when we'll talk about, my story or whatever else, and I've joked that the getting fired side of the story gets more engagement than the helping, be a part of a group that turned around the Pittsburgh Pirates after 20 years.
By the way, everyone
she's like, why can't we talk about that? And I'm like, well, I think the other side, it's not that there's not an appreciation, I think, but there's all the things that come out of that deal with being more human that I think resonates with people. We're getting out of more of our head and intellectually making sense of things and more like, hey, I can connect on some level with that.
Wow. Yeah, it's so true, though. The metaphor, the 2013 Organization of the Year does not get the same focus as getting fired. By the way, I don't know the exact quote, but pretty much, especially in Major League Baseball, you're going to get fired at some point.
I said to people, and my mom still tells the story about when I first went down this endeavor, this career path. Yeah. I said, hey, just so you know, I'm going to get fired at some point. She's like, my son's not getting fired. I think Heather probably had a similar thought or whatever else. But I think the longer you go, and we can look at Hall of Famers, a lot of them have been fired.
Yeah.
And I think to some extent, if you're really trying to challenge the status quo and pursue excellence and whatever else, there's probably a good chance, especially if you're doing it without all the resources and everything else, there's probably a chance at some point where it's time to go do something else. Brian Billick, the NFL coach, used to always say, you're getting fired, it's either for results or relationships. Right? Either you can't win enough or you've ticked somebody off where it's time to go do something. And in all seriousness, it probably is time to go do something else.
I mean, it's a 14-year run in Major League Baseball. Got one, and then I want to give you a chance to give some tiebacks to the overplay, underplay, whatever the heck you want to go. You handled difficult things so well. Where is there a situation where that is really a stretch for you? I come to you, a lot of people come to you, but Kyle, help me navigate through. And Kyle's got his own company, Stark Contrast, and has unbelievable workshops that you lead, and you're leading high performers in the military space, in the sports space, in the corporate space. But for real, where is there that's a ruck for me? You ruck literally 26 miles with 40 pounds on your back. You look at situations that are challenging, good opportunity to learn. Where is it? Is it floating in the Dead Sea?
Yeah.
Is it doing improv when there's 7 different languages in the room?
Well, I do think there is an element of part of the reason why I have enjoyed getting a chance to actually lift the Game On curriculum is it is a stretch for me. Yeah. The control, serious, whatever else, you got to let go of all that pretty quickly. And so that has, I think that is a stretch. I think when you've been through some hard things, it gives you some different perspective. In all honesty, I think for me, part of what's hard is navigating I love working with high-speed people, working with coaches and leaders. I don't necessarily love building a business and navigating all that. So
you and me both.
So I think that is a stretch. But I think there's similar things okay, what can you control? What aren't you going to control? Where are you going to let go of some things, not take yourself too serious, whatever else, and commit to something and go. So I think there's a little bit of that at play there too.
Can I acknowledge, and then you drive home some takeaways, the session that you've helped build with Chris Friday? This has to go on record. The acronym is SOAR, right? SOAR, support, right?
So it's self-awareness, open-mindedness, adaptability, and then resilience.
SOAR is the acronym. Without a doubt, it's the wildest, most incredible improv-based cacophony of 4 improv games that sometimes misbehave. and people are loving it, and you helped build it. So I just want to acknowledge that one of the things you're trying to stretch is like, oh, get into this improv thing. Bro, you cooked one of the kookiest, most amazing sessions we teach now.
There's one speed, and that's all the way. If we're going to do it, let's go.
It's called Sea Changes Opportunity. Chris and Kyle come out of the curriculum kitchen like, I think we got something. I look at them like, all four of these.
I've banned every one of those games.
All four of these games misbehave. It's been so fun. We've got Hitchhiker in play. We got a game called Overload in play. We got a game called Storytime in play. We got a game called Red Light, Green Light. Hilarious. So thank you.
Yeah, and I think, so, as you talk through that, and I've mentioned control a couple times, I think this is part of, for a coach and a leader, if we're honest with ourselves, a lot of what we do is out of control. A sense of control.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's because I don't have control. And so I'm trying to control in different spaces. And so I think that's part of that journey, maturing as a leader, is recognizing what can you control, what can't you control, and where are you doing something purely to try to control something. And, I think I can definitely relate to that early in my career, and then how that evolved over time. But I think that's what the improv muscle flexes is the overplay, underplay focuses on what really matters. Let's sell out to that principle. The rest of the stuff, I don't really care. The improv piece of do what can you control and then let go of some other stuff and stop trying to take yourself so serious and lean into it and have some fun along the way.
You've helped us as a team see improv in a different perspective, not just as a performance tool, not just as a fun, engaging tool that have a gateway to takeaways, but actually wild leadership techniques, wild surrender techniques, listening, sharing the space, hierarchy, all of it. So takeaways, Kyle, that you want to share, some nuggets, because you have some great ones around kind of what we chopped up, overplay, underplay, dealing with difficult things, seeing rucks as opportunities to learn, that challenge support component, all those things that you bring to all of your trainings.
Yeah, I think a couple things. I think one is this idea of not taking ourselves too serious.
Yeah.
Take what we do very serious. But where am I taking myself too serious?
I have to repeat that because I actually love it. Take what we do seriously, but don't take ourselves seriously.
Yeah, because it allows us then to be human as we go through it. But if I'm getting in the way, then I'm probably defensive and protective. I'm probably controlling. Whatever the overplay or underplay comes out is going to come out there. As opposed to this mission I'm serious about. But we're not going to take ourselves too serious as we pursue it. I think the overplay underplay piece allows us to recognize where am I oscillating back and forth, riding the pendulum versus what's the truth here. That's what I want to focus on and commit to. Yeah, I think those are the big ones. And I think the other part of it is as you navigate hard, again, we're being sharpened as we go through it. It's not necessarily stuff we sign up for. And I think we all have the right platitudes to say until we're the ones in it. And then can I really lean into it and model it and go through it? And that's we joke around, whether Heather's reference, we've got a buddy, Mike Canio, who says, dude, you lead in with you're fired. And it's like, yeah, it leads into some conversations.
It's a showstopper. It's a showstopper.
But it allows us to know how am I really going, because we're all going through hard. Nothing's smooth. We're not meant to live on the mountaintop. We get on the mountaintop to get a glimpse.
Dude, you know how many people can relate to the fired more than they can relate to Major League Baseball Organization of the Year in 2013? Yeah. Way more people can relate. And most of the social media posts are humbled and blessed, and we won the championship. Not many people are going to post.
I was talking with an NFL coach the other day who was navigating his own journey, had been fired. And we were joking back and forth. I said something. He goes, were you in my kitchen last night? And but he said something, and I've heard this said similarly by a few different people about, you say all the right things. My identity's not in what I do, all those things until it gets threatened. Mm-hmm. And whether that's fired, but it doesn't have to be fired. It can be anything where we're like, hey, where are some of the things I'm saying being challenged at a deeper level? Right. And that's the journey we're on. That's the consistency play. Are we continuing to go deeper and learn these things at a deeper level? Or are we looking for something more wow and amazing along the way?
How many miles are you going to walk this weekend before you get ready?
We got a 22 on the agenda.
Slow down. Pump the brake.
There's a guy that's doing it as well who's on social media a lot.
What's his name?
So
you're pointing. You just pointed. You're pointing.
So we'll find out what he's doing, and maybe I'll have to compete a little bit.
I hear a tone in your voice that is
Challenge.
Go as far as resentful. 20 when you go 22 miles, like you're adding all those up, or you're going to go 22 miles in one.
So we've done a 20 miler,
Sure.
Heather and I.
You don't
I
need
think
to
we'll
brag.
probably do 22 spread out over the course of 8-10 hours.
I'll
something like
acknowledge we're all preparing for this ruck. You're doing it with weight, 40 pounds of weight, and I'm doing it, attempting to do a 26.2.
But you're carrying all of our baggage, so it's like you've got
I teed you up for such a good joke. I carry your burden.
no question.
Which is
way more than 40 pounds.
I'm going to try to get 12 miles in.
Nice.
I'm enjoying the walk. It's like Forrest Gumpy. I just keep walking, listen to a little worship music.
That'll preach.
It will. It will. Maverick City music.
One step at a time.
I said I wouldn't cry. Laugh with Kyle Stark. I love you, brother.
Love
I
you
love
too, bro.
Heather. Love doing life with you, man. Stark contrast. You're amazing. Get people around you that can help you both challenge and support, and surround yourself with people that will celebrate your gifts and compliment you. And that's Laugh With. Thanks, brother.
Amen. Thanks.
Well done. Game on.